Hey lovelies! I'm getting more on this video blogging thing. I'm pretty excited about it. I really want to make this a part of my regular ReLove Planet weekly posts, I guess. So I'm hoping that I can continue with these weekly video vlogs. My excitement over actually being productive aside, today I wanted to talk about kind of going along with a little bit of the same theme I've been talking about my last couple of posts. Lots of hand gestures, of course, because that's just the way I video blog and talk, apparently. What I wanted to talk about was elaborating on actively participating in your own happiness, which hopefully you guys aren't getting sick of this topic yet, because it is an amazing topic, it's an important topic, and I just kind of wanted to elaborate a little bit more about my life in perspective to the topic of actively participating in your own happiness. Basically, I want to talk just about life is what you make it. Life is completely what you make it. A lot of people don't like this concept because we feel like our life is due to circumstance, it's due to whatever happened to us. We feel like it's easier to play the victim, and it's easier to say that, well, my life is this way because this happened, or because this shitty person is in it, or because I have this shitty job, or basically we want to blame anything outside of ourselves for the condition of our lives. And the reason I want to talk about this topic is because, well, like a lot of the posts that I talk about, it's about happiness, it's about learning to be happy, it's about learning to accept what comes your way in life and making the most of it. And life, for that reason, is absolutely what you make it. Another reason that I wanted to talk about this was because I've seen a couple of posts on Facebook recently and just in life in general, and it made me reflect a lot on my own life. And the topic that has been reoccurring is that the situation that other people or myself are in, where we're successful at whatever it is that we're trying to be successful at, it isn't because we were lucky, it isn't because something was just handed to us, it's because we work hard for it. And I feel like my life is certainly no exception, and I wanted to make that clear, I guess, because I feel like a lot of people that may watch posts like this where someone is talking about life is what you make it, be happy, be proactive in your life, just spewing out all this like positivity, a lot of people probably look at that person and think, well, that's because she has it easy, because life handed her this perfect hand, she just is one of those really lucky people. And I wanted to clarify this because, like I've repeated so many times already in this short amount of babbling that I've already done, life is what you make it. And my life is certainly no exception, and that's why I like doing what I do. That's why I like video blogging. It's why I like sharing my story, because my life wasn't this beautiful, perfect canvas or story. My life was incredibly, ridiculously difficult. My life still has so many, I want to say, unreasonable or unfair things that keep coming up. I have plenty of situations in my life that are constantly reoccurring, are constantly issues, or constantly things that I need to work on. So my life isn't the way it is because of circumstance or because I got lucky. It's because I worked really hard to be where I am today. The happiness and the state of mind that I have achieved today did not happen by accident or by chance or by luck. It happened because I made it happen. And this is an important concept to understand because it comes back to actively participating in your own happiness and not settling for a shitty hand in life. It's about creating your own, about making the most of what you're given and making your life amazing, because everyone has that capacity within themselves. I was a suicidal, depressed, self-loathing teenager and girl in my early 20s for just so long, and I accepted that that was my life at the time. I thought there wasn't anything better than that. I fed the self-loathing, I fed the negativity, I constantly just made myself believed that that was my life and that was what there was to life. I just accepted that life sucked and that life was unhappy and that life was miserable. And I'm extremely happy, obviously, that I was able to change that mentality, but I share this story because I hope to encourage other people who may be in a similar situation where you feel like there isn't any hope, that life isn't beautiful, and that you're just given a shitty hand in life. I want to share my story because I don't want you to believe that that's what you have to suffer through the rest of your life. It is absolutely up to you to make a difference, to actively participate in your own happiness, to change the way you view yourself, the world around you, any situation that is handed to you. And that is what is going to change your life, and you're going to learn to love yourself and to love life. And when you start doing that, everything else around you becomes so much easier, and life becomes easier, and life becomes so much easier to handle, especially when those really trying experiences still come up, because they do still come up. That's just part of life. The part that changes is your manner of coping with them, your ability to work through them, to allow yourself to feel the emotions that you need to feel so that you can work through it on an internal level and an external level, so you can work through it and then become back to that happy state again. And like I said, all of us have that capacity to do that, so I want you to know that. I want you to have that hope inside you, because it is absolutely possible. If you had told that suicidal, depressed teenager, or early 20-year-old, that I was going to be as happy as I am today, I definitely would not have believed you. I didn't think there was any escaping the state of mind that I was in, and I mean, I was incredibly depressed. I was incredibly suicidal. I used to cut myself. I absolutely despised myself. I hated every part of myself. All of that proactive work that I did, all of those daily mantras, all of that building myself up, all of reading the right books, all of working on myself absolutely every single day is what made me who I am today. It's what built up that courage, it's what built up the optimism, it's what built up the positivity, it's what allowed me to feel my emotions in a usable, constructive way, as opposed to letting it just crumble and my life fall apart every time something negative happened. And even when something negative didn't happen, it was just a constant state of mind, and no one has to be stuck that way. No one ever has to be stuck that way. And I'm not perfect by a long shot, not even close, but that's part of life as well, is constantly working on yourself, constantly finding new ways of coping and dealing with things, and constantly learning and growing and just becoming a better human being, because there's always so much more to learn. We should never stop growing. We should never stop learning. And that's definitely part of the beauty of life, and we should embrace that instead of feeling negative about it. The other reason that I'm not perfect by a long shot is that it still takes me forever to make the right decisions. This big, huge life change that I made recently, this new life chapter as I like to call it, it took a grueling 6 months, I mean like serious 6 months, for me to actually make this decision. And as I said in my last blog post, I want people to realize that they're not alone if it's taking a long time to make a decision like that, because it is a really hard thing to make big life decisions. So, and it's hard to always do what we need to do for ourselves, but be patient with yourself and know that you're not alone in that. I still struggle, I still cry, I still fall flat on my face all the time. The biggest part that changed, I think anyways, from my perspective, is my optimism, my resilience, my persistence. And those are really what matter, because if you fall down, then you just have to learn to get back up again. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes, and the more you practice it, the easier it is to become resilient and persistent and optimistic, and you'll see the positivity much sooner, and you'll feel your emotions much more fluently, and you'll be able to let go of those emotions. And there's nothing wrong with crying, there's nothing wrong with getting mad, there's nothing wrong with getting angry. The point is that you feel those emotions, you allow them to go through your system to do what you need to do, and then you let them go. That's the biggest part, is learning to feel your emotions and letting them go. Bottling up and pretending something is just okay isn't a proper way of dealing with something. You have to work through the issue properly, like I said, on an internal level and on an external level. The other thing that became really important for me is that during downward spirals, I do a lot of going back and forth on feeling worthy and happy. So during a downward spiral, I may be really struggling with the situation, or I may feel not as happy as I usually do. I still wouldn't call it being depressed, but a lot of people like to categorize it as such a thing. a mental disorder, but during the downward swings I can feel miserable, I can feel upset, I can feel emotional every single day, but the big thing that changes is that I start playing this game of ping pong with myself, basically, about my self-worth. And self-worth, I believe, is kind of like the bubble of happiness in a way, because if we can harness our self-worth, then we feel good about ourselves, we can enter that state of happiness again, we realize that we are worthy of good things, and we can usually work through situations much easier. I do this game of ping pong with myself. So one day I feel really shitty and I'll feel like my life is miserable and I can't work through this, and then I remind myself that no, I'm worthy, I am a totally worthy person, I deserve happiness, and then that'll build myself up again. But then I'm still stuck in this situation, so the ping pong game will go back and forth, and I go miserable, no I'm happy, no I'm miserable, no I'm happy. And the important thing is like I said earlier, it's the persistence and it's the resilience. So you can't just stop playing ping pong, otherwise you let the negativity win. But if you keep playing the game of ping pong, then eventually you're gonna win and you're gonna be back to that state of happiness. So that's, again, like I said, where persistence and resilience really does matter, and that's just how you work through life, and it'll feel less like a chore, it'll feel less like work when you're playing that game of ping pong, and you'll just learn to ride the wave, so to speak, and life will become a lot easier in that aspect. So keep doing it, keep working at it, keep working on your optimism and your positivity, and you'll find life so much easier to handle, so much easier to re-enter a state of happiness. If you sit around and do nothing, your life will never change. If you get up and take a stand and decide that you are worthy and that you are going to be happy, making that declaration means you're going to start doing things that are good for you. And for me, I write gratitude lists. Again, this is kind of repeating the actively participating in your own happiness, so I do recommend going back into that post. The last couple posts really do relate to one another. But do everything that I said in the actively participating in your own happiness post, because those are things that will help build up your happiness. So do that. But it's doing that makes your life beautiful and amazing. That's how I got to where I am today. And there are still situations that are, like I said, they seem completely unfair that happen to you, and those happen to me still on a fairly consistent basis. Things happen in life, and you either lay down on the floor curled up in the fetal position and cry about it, and stay crying about it, and just start wallowing in your own self-pity and the misery of your life, or you let yourself have a good cry, you brush yourself off, you get back up again, you look for the positivity in the situation, and you work through it, and you keep moving, and you keep being happy, and you just shouldn't let yourself get stuck, because you never have to be stuck. You can always live a happy life. Take it day by day, take it moment by moment. Being in the present moment is a really big helpful point with happiness. It really is, because then you're not letting your mind wander to the future, creating scenarios that don't exist or haven't happened yet, and you don't start wandering into the past and start feeling, well, sorry for yourself or miserable about your life because of the past. So being grounded in the present moment is extremely helpful, because happiness is in the now. Happiness is a state of mind, so happiness is totally in the now. So try to come back to the present moment and you'll be able to find your happiness much easier. Deal with things when they come up. Don't carry it with you. Don't give up. Keep smiling, and remember that you are in charge of your own happiness. Take that control, take that responsibility, and you will absolutely transform your own life. You will become happy, you will become blissful, and yes, just do it. Okay, I think that's enough for me today for a ramble, because this is turning out to be a fairly long post. I love you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you actively participate in your own happiness every single day. I hope you're proactive about your health, proactive about your sanity, about your mental health, about your happiness. And get out there and have an awesome day. Enjoy this fall weather. Don't forget to smile, pass on your smile to others, and yes, do good, be awesome, because you're awesome. Okay, have an awesome day, guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.